Hello, everyone, dear viewers of the channel. I am Helena, the guardian of secrets, a researcher of mystical phenomena, and here with me is Vadim, a historian interested in folk culture.
Good day, Helena, and to all our listeners. Always a pleasure to delve into the captivating, often perplexing world of Ukrainian folklore with you.
Today, Vadim, we're taking a deep dive into the enchanting and perhaps a little frightening corners of the Odessa region. Specifically, we're going to explore the legend surrounding the name of the village of Nestoita. Its very name, which translates roughly to unstable, restless, or unsettled, already hints at a rich, intriguing history.
Nestoita, indeed, a very evocative name. Before we let our imaginations run wild, Helena, what do historical records or even common local narratives suggest about the origin of this unsettling moniker? Was it purely descriptive of the terrain, or did something more dramatic unfold there?
But Vadim, sometimes the common narratives are precisely where the deepest truths, albeit metaphorical ones, reside. Local legends whisper of this place being particularly dangerous for Chumaks, the salt traders who traversed vast distances, often through dense ancient forests. They say these woods weren't just physically difficult to navigate, but held a peculiar energy, a restless spirit that made them Nestoita, unsettled, unpredictable. It wasn't merely the presence of bandits, though they were a very real threat, but something more.
The Chumaks, a fascinating and vital part of Ukrainian history, risking life and limb for salt. Their roots were indeed perilous. While I appreciate the poetic notion of a restless spirit in the forest, history clearly shows that deep forests along trade routes were prime locations for organized robber bands. These groups would exploit the isolation and the wealth carried by the Chumaks. Could the unsettled nature of the place simply refer to its reputation as a haven for outlaws, making any passage through it inherently dangerous and unpredictable due to human malice rather than mystical forces?
That's where the stories diverge, Vadim. While the presence of robber bands is undeniable and certainly contributed to the danger, the legends speak of something more insidious. Imagine Chumaks, weary from their long journey, seeing strange lights flicker deep within the woods, hearing disembodied whispers carried on the wind, or finding their paths mysteriously obscured by fog that rolled in from nowhere. Tales persist of travelers disappearing without a trace, not just robbed, but as if the forest itself had swallowed them whole. It's said that the trees would seem to shift, the very ground becoming treacherous underfoot, making it impossible to find your way out once you were truly lost in its embrace. This wasn't just human-made danger, it was the forest itself acting as a malevolent entity.
Those are truly chilling accounts, Helena. And it's easy to see how such experiences, combined with the very real threat of bandits, would fuel supernatural explanations. However, let's consider the natural world and human psychology. Strange lights could be swamp gas, known as willow of the wisps, a common phenomenon in marshy forests, capable of disorienting anyone. Whispers? The wind through dense foliage, perhaps. As for paths being obscured, a thick fog is a natural occurrence, and getting lost in an unfamiliar dense forest is terrifyingly easy, leading to panic and disorientation, making one feel the forest is moving. The disappearing travelers, while tragic, could sadly be attributed to the extremely effective tactics of skilled bandit groups who knew the terrain intimately and left no witnesses.
And yet, Vadim, Chumaks were experienced travelers. They knew the land, the signs. Their protective rituals weren't just for show. They would carry specific herbs, recite protective prayers, even leave offerings at certain ancient trees, believing these actions appeased the spirits of the forest, or at least provided a shield against the malevolent ones. To them, these weren't merely superstitious acts, but vital parts of their survival strategy. They believed that losing this knowledge, this connection to the spiritual landscape, would make them truly vulnerable.
I completely agree that these rituals were vital, Helena, but perhaps not in the way of literal magic. From a historical and psychological perspective, such practices offered profound psychological comfort and fostered a sense of control in an uncontrollable environment. A specific herb might have been known to repel insects or have some medicinal property, but its perceived magical power boosted morale. Reciting prayers or leaving offerings provided a sense of agency, a feeling that one was not entirely at the mercy of fate, or, indeed, ruthless bandits. These actions also reinforced communal identity and shared cultural understanding, creating a collective coping mechanism for the very real dangers faced. They weren't about literally stopping spirits, but about giving strength to the traveler.
But the power of belief, Vadim, is a force. When an entire community, generation after generation, believes a place is Nestoita, that belief imbues the place with an energy. It's not just historical fact, it's a living myth that shapes how people interact with the land. The very air, the very soil, they hold these stories, these fears. I've spoken to elders in the Odessa region who still won't enter certain parts of the forest after dark, not just because of wild animals, but because the restless ones walk there. This is the soul of our land, preserved in these tales.
And it's crucial to preserve that soul, Helena. My aim isn't to dismiss the profound cultural significance or the power of these beliefs, but to understand the multi-layered origins. The legend of Nestoita, then, becomes a powerful testament to both the historical realities of banditry and dangerous travel, and the human mind's innate tendency to weave supernatural narratives around fear and the unknown. The village's name perfectly captures this dual nature, a place physically unsettled by human conflict and psychologically unsettled by the perceived presence of otherworldly forces.
Exactly. It's a double conclusion. The mystical, the belief in an active, often capricious spirit of the land, intertwining with the very real, very human dangers of the past. The truth, as always, is far richer when we allow both perspectives to illuminate it. This duality is what keeps these stories alive and powerful.
Indeed. The legends of Nestoita remind us that history is never just about dates and facts, but also about how communities perceived and responded to their environment, both seen and unseen.
And on that note, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you heard other versions of the Nestoita legend? Or perhaps similar stories from other villages in the Odessa region or beyond? Share your insights and experiences in the comments below. We read them all.
Your input truly enriches our discussions. It helps us see just how widespread and diverse these fascinating narratives are across Ukraine.
Don't forget to like this episode and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, so you won't miss our next dive into the mystical heart of Ukraine. Until next time, stay curious and keep those ancient stories alive.